Chapter 26 is called Eschatology and Time, and it's a chapter that the philosopher in me just delights in. The stuff that I discovered about the way that eschatology figures time and what that means in relation to modern rhythms of time and the way that the Bible subverts and fulfills them is just so contemporary, I guess, so fresh. And so one of the things that I talk about in this chapter is how the modern world has an idea of teleology. So that human beings are essentially perfectible. It's an idea you find in Rousseau and subsequent thinkers. And that not necessarily in Rousseau, but in other thinkers, that there's the idea that society is getting better and better and better and better, and eventually will reach some sort of perfection. It's a linear teleology of progress. And I think it's really problematic, first of all, because history doesn't bear it out, but also because it leads you to some rather obnoxious assumptions about cultures that are not one's own, or at least did in the 18th and 19th centuries. But the Bible doesn't do that. The Bible has not teleology, but eschatology. And the Bible predisposes people to think that things are probably going to get really bad just before the end. And then suddenly Christ will return and justice will come and order will be restored. Superabundance will cascade upon the earth and so forth. And this teaches us a new way of feeling our way in the world, I suppose, of sensing what's possible, of holding on to hope in the midst of whatever it is that the next few years are going to throw at us geopolitically. And just the power of eschatology for shaping time in a way that teaches us how to live and teaches us how to relate to the world and to society and sort of to ourselves, I suppose, as well, in the sense that you understand who you are by knowing the story that you're part of. And eschatology is fundamentally part of that story. And it's a linchpin of that story, isn't it? If you don't know how it ends, you don't really know what sort of story it is. If you take the last chapter out of any novel, you're never quite sure whether there's going to be a twist that sort of changes the way you look at everything. And therefore, having a very rich sense of eschatology is fundamental to knowing how to be a Christian in the world, because the last chapter can change everything, can't it? It retroactively shapes everything that went before it as well.